Sunrise interview for you this morning. The American Heart Association is declaring today, August 20th, as Kern County Lifesaver Day. So what does that mean? They're asking everyone to spend just 90 seconds today brushing up on life-saving skills like CPR. So today we have Dr. Jared Salvo, a cardiologist and local American Heart Association board member, to talk to us more about Kern County Lifesaver Day. Good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Thank you so much for joining us. So tell me a little bit, why is this important? Why is learning these life-saving measures so important for just the average person?
Well, heart disease is the leading cause of death in America, and more than half of those deaths are from sudden cardiac arrest, and most of those occur at home. So there's a high likelihood that most of us at some point in our life will encounter the need to potentially resuscitate somebody.
And how do you do that?
So CPR is what we do, and it's evolved over the years. Now we do hands-only CPR, where you lock your hands together and use the palm of your hand on the sternum. We're pump the blood from the heart as if it was beating on its own.
And why is this so critical to save someone in these scary moments?
Of course, you have about 3 to 4 minutes before the lack of oxygen starts to cause brain damage, liver failure, organ failure, and you really, as each minute passes, the likelihood of you getting resuscitated diminishes. In fact, the overall likelihood of a person surviving a cardiac arrest is less than 10% out of a hospital. It's not very good.
That is terrifying. So what can we do in our day-to-day life to improve our heart health?
Well, I would say one of the biggest things is learn CPR, because you never know when you're going to need it, and you might save a life, and it could be a loved one. I've seen many stories that were miraculous saves by people who performed CPR on a loved one at home, and it's really how we can save each other.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a story from a friend yesterday, actually, who said he was out on the street with his friend, and someone collapsed on the ground, and luckily his friend knew CPR, and that saved the person in those moments. So are there any ways that we can keep up our heart health outside of CPR so that we can maybe not be in these traumatic events or in these scary situations?
Sure. Well, sudden cardiac arrest, unfortunately, is sudden, so a lot of it's unpredictable. However, there are things that you can do, making sure that your blood pressure is controlled, understanding what your cholesterol levels are. It's really important to know your family history, because a lot of it's genetic and it's passed along, especially if things strike young people and families. And then, of course, you want to do the good things like exercising and avoiding smoking, which is a terrible thing.
Yeah, smoking, does that lead to a lot of the cardiac arrest that you're seeing?
It does. It's one of the leading causes of atherosclerosis, which is blockages of the arteries.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add about Lifesaver Day and why this is so important for Kern County to get involved in?
Yeah, just a couple of things. So if you find yourself in the situation where you might have to do CPR, don't hesitate. That's actually one of the biggest things that people think, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. You should.
Okay.
And remember, if there's anyone nearby, send someone to go get help. Send someone to find an AED if you can, and make sure that 911 gets called, because if you're doing CPR right, that person is going to get exhausted very quickly doing their 100 to 120 compressions a minute, and you're going to need relief, and then you'll need advanced medical personnel to finish the job that you've begun.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Dr. Salvo. We'll be right back with more news coming up after the break.